Guys, I've got Nightwing number 50, and I gotta tell you, based on absolutely nothing, no concept of other Nightwing covers really, I think this has got to be one of the most iconic Nightwing covers of all time. So let's just get into this. I said previously before that I used to think Nightwing was a little bit of a dork, a little bit of a Batman wannabe, but sometime last year I just got this earworm in my ear saying, hey, I bet it's probably hard to live up to Batman, to be in Batman's shadow. And you know what? I was absolutely right. It is. It's tough. So you know what? I realized that Nightwing isn't as lame as I previously thought. So I'm into this. Let's just look at this cover. I gotta say, kind of looks like his hair was drawn using the spray paint can and MS Paint. But you know what? It's probably hard to pull that off. So I'm willing to overlook it. Also, we gotta point out this scar here. Our homeboy, he got shot in the head in a Batman comic. But thank God that the scar ended up being on brand. I mean, or maybe not. Maybe he doesn't want to be Nightwing anymore. Once he was Nightwing, he was petrified. But I just gotta say, what's the trajectory on a bullet here to get this? I mean, I gotta assume he was carrying around a lot of excess scalp. And that's not a good look. So you know what? If you got a lot of excess scalp, which now you're thinking about it, how do you even realize if you have that? That seems like a problem that's unique to men, and mostly black men. I feel like that's who I've seen have it. But if you got some excess fat in your body, just start shooting it off. It'll leave a dope-ass scar, and then you can lie about how you got them. So, luckily it's on brand, or maybe not. Maybe he's putting his little booties up. Okay, enough of my rambling, but I will say, I'm going to show a lot, but it's just going to be me, like, pontificating about, you know, how stupid I am. So, this is definitely a get. I understand why, Midtown Comics was having, like, a limit per customer when I went to the shop this week. I think I didn't even see any copies left, so, yeah. It's so well written, too. But let's just go ahead and get into this. Gotta start off in Bloodhaven. That's where our boy resides. And he's at the dyer, which I'm gonna think, like, this is some Final Destination Omen shit right here. You don't want to do that. So he's in there. He's reading the paper. He's enjoying some nice, like, probably stale coffee. And, somebody comes in. Oh no, the waitress is fucking terrified. Now, I'm a big fan of comic conspiracy theories. I'm a big fan of conspiracy theories anyway, so you know what? If you haven't subbed yet, sub if you think this is some good shit here. So I got some conspiracy theories about number one, tire companies. They put old tires on interstates to make you think, oh shit, I need new tires. I will not back down from that one. Another one is Big Tarantula. That's the one that's been eating away at my brain now. I've literally been telling everyone to be on the lookout for Big Tarantula, but I still haven't looked up information on tarantulas, because you know what? Since Big Tarantula exists, they definitely have the money to pay off whoever they gotta pay off to write articles saying that it's just a tarantula, and to not be terrified. Also, just claw machines in general. No one's won anything from a claw machine ever. It's a rigged game. Nobody will win. This right here, this new conspiracy is, I think comic book characters are spending like 67 or 70%, oh god, that lisp, that was really harsh, 60% of their goddamn time in diners. It's happened in the last Batman comic I read, it's happened in Heroes in Crisis, it's happened in X-Men Magneto, which I gotta do, it's happening here. I have spent 0% of my time this year in a diner. I haven't been into Waffle House in like 4 years. What the fuck's going on here? What's Big Diner up to? So, who's coming in? Who's going to kill everybody? We get to see this, which he's telling us that the bullet was traveling at 3,200 feet per second. I don't know enough about bullets to comment on that, but you know what? It seems pretty fast. I lost bone, blood, brain tissue, and cerebrospinal fluid, and suffer from severe vascular swelling. There are consequences when you get shot in the skull. Memory loss, mood swings, blackouts, seizures, loss of motor function. Look at that. That is... You better be cool if you've got that... that, like, skin tag on the side of your head. I'm still trying to figure out my new hardwiring, but one thing's for damn sure. You survive a bullet to the brain, get this funny idea in your head, that you can survive anything. I already think I'm fucking untouchable by the universe. If I get shot and I live, oh my god. I'm just gonna try to conquer the whole world, because bullets cannot harm me. So he's in here, he sees the guy with the pantyhose on his head. You know, why is he even in the diner? I feel like you only go into diners when things are real bad, or you're on the run, or you're, like, about to go on a stakeout, or you just got done doing a stakeout, that sort of thing. He just got done participating in a 16-hour game of Texas Hold'em. This guy's a gambler. Which I gotta tell you, is it appealing to me right now? Because I'm gonna get into betting on the NBA. Will it be a mistake? Will it not? That's what's exciting about betting. But apparently he did really well. He's got this huge wad of cash in his wallet, and he's like, you know what? You can have it, dude. Because I just want to sit and read my paper here. But the mistake he makes here, he puts the whole wallet down. This is a mistake. I've said before, and repeatedly in my mind, that if someone tries to rob me, they're not. It's just not going to fucking happen. Even if I have 4 singles in my wallet, they're mine. You cannot have them. But if for some reason he caught me on an off day where I decide, I think my life may be worth more than $4, I'm going to give him the cash. I'm not going to give him the whole wallet. I'm not going to give him my cards. And even if he's like, yo, give me the cards, I'm keeping my ID because that's going to be a pain in the ass to get a new one. So this is a mistake, but you know what? It's cool because as he picks up the wallet, he throws the coffee cup here. Now if this was, you gotta remember, this is a new guy. This is a new man. This is a new Nightwing. Gotta feel like the old Nightwing. He would have had a pretty saucy one-liner here. Hey man, you forgot your coffee. Hey man, here's your caffeine. Hey man, you need, I don't know why I'm doing hey man. That's not probably the beginning of a good one-liner at all, but it's like, you forgot your to-go cup. Just something I feel like it's got a lot of motion to it, and look at that. This is a man. A boy would have made a one-liner there. But he hits him, and of course, I'll skip this page over here, but Nightwing, he picks up his wallet, he takes a couple of the bills out, he gives them to the waitress, but that's also a mistake, because you paid her to be a victim. All she did was not want to die, and then you gave her a fat stack of cash. She's going to associate that being a victim with getting money, which is terrible. Also, this woman is a career waitress. What is she doing? How many coffee pots is she breaking? She's working at the dyer in Bloodhaven. I gotta assume this shit happens all the time. So honestly, she needs to be fired. Because how many other things has she broken when her life has been threatened? Like, come on. Sheila, Darla, whatever. So we get a couple flashbacks to when he was becoming Robin. Though they're very well drawn. The coloring on them is insane. I'm not going to show too many of them, but I do need to show this. So they're going to Gotham University. He's telling him to put his gas mask on. He was like, I'm literally doing that. Let me be my own man. Oh, that gets me in the heart. It gets me right in there. Because that's the core of the Nightwing being, and I'm into it. All this shit about destiny, controlling your own life, oh, it's hitting me hard right now, so this is good. This is good stuff. And we see that Scarecrow is at the university. He's sewn a couple mouths shut. He's sewn a couple eyes shut, which, I mean, I understand the mouths thing, because people be talking way too much. But the eyes, you want them to see what's going on. We get this panel. They bust in here. It looks great. I really like this where they both caught his pitchfork at the same time. And they're about to give him a little bit of an education in fear. And Batman tells him, he's like, look, I'm going to take your mask off and you're going to inhale your fear stuff. Which makes me think, have Scarecrow and Green Lantern ever encountered each other? Because I feel like that could be fertile ground for some stuff there. So he takes off his mask. And it starts to envelop him, and then he's like, it's a robin. Oh, that's cool. Now look. Any bird that's attacking you in your fucking grill is immediately the most terrifying thing that ever existed in that moment, ever. But being afraid of a robin, yeah, I would say it's a little bit pathetic. What's even worse than being afraid of a robin? A blue jay? A cardinal? It's just like, dude, this shit is pretty weak that you're afraid of a robin. I mean, look at that. I mean, the tongue's kind of spooky, but yeah. I'm just saying, if you're afraid of birds, Stop being afraid of birds. I mean, I'm not even afraid of vultures. Like, come on. So now we get to see what he's been up to. Sometimes I blink, and I don't know where I am. See, it's that memory loss thing. He's participating in underground street fights. I mean, that's fucking cool. There's no other way to slice it here. Or when, or even who. He's probably hustling at pool. This guy's a little bit of a rough character. Apparently I've lost friends, and I've lost enemies, and I've lost all the millions of choices, for better or worse, that have added up to make me me. Who's Nightwing? Never heard of him. Who's Dick Grayson? That answer's a little more complicated. I've lost enough of my history that I still feel like a dumbass teenager trying to figure out who he is. And at first that scared me. Then I realized I'm the one traveling through walls, floating in and out of time, which means I'm a ghost. It's harder to feel afraid when you're a ghost. That whole thing, that was reason enough to buy it. But I think there's something really, I don't want to say brilliant, because this is a comic book we're talking about here. We're not talking about, like, new theories, some mathematical equations here. But this is a really clever way of sort of retconning a character while not losing any of his past. I'm sure soap operas have employed it, you know, the amnesia thing, but the amnesia without a bullet, it's a little suspect. Like, if one of your friends was like, hey, I have amnesia, it's like, hey, dude, fuck off, alright? If you don't want to be friends, we can just end it. We can friend break up. Well, you don't have to throw this fucking amnesia around. No one in the history of the world has had a legitimate case of amnesia. And if you can prove that you had amnesia, guess what? You didn't have it because you remembered that you have it. You're not going to get one by me, you fucking amnesia liars. But it's a way. He still retains all of his history, but you can remake him any way you want. He's participating in street fights. He's probably hustling at pool. He's still doing this, but without a helmet. It's just like, it's like a clever way. Plus, you get to keep all the stuff. You can keep all the old people in his life. You could make him react in new and different ways. It's just clever. It's just clever. So we cut back to Arkham now, where Scarecrow. This Scarecrow is drawn like no Scarecrow I've ever seen before. But he hates the boy who fears nothing, which I guess is sort of the new moniker he's going by. But you know what? That sounds better than Robin. Because literally any name sounds better than Robin. So our boy Dick here, he starts driving a cab. And a seasoned black cabbie tells him that it's a shortcut to finding trouble. Finding people who are going to stick you up. Finding people who want to fight you. All these things. And he's like, I'm counting on it. Which, yeah, you're going to counter all types of trouble. Just like hookers in general. Junkies. Pregnant women who are having babies in the back seats of cabs. Movies and TV have led me to believe that in every single cab, every woman has a baby. If I enter a cab right now, I'm not pregnant at all. If I enter in a cab, I will immediately become 9 months pregnant, and that baby's coming out in that cab floor right then and there. Being a cabbie, yeah, plus the trouble now of being a cabbie is that you can't make any fucking money because of all the rideshare apps. So it's like a whole lot of stuff's going on here. So Scarecrow, he eventually breaks out of Arkham. And he's got his sights set on Dick here. And then we cut to this, Bloodhaven, which immediately this looks like too fancy to be Bloodhaven, like from what we know of Bloodhaven. This shit. It's got like a false front or something. You're going to have fancy stuff like this. But he's walking around in his tighty-whities, which it may be a callback to, I remember in like some of the first issues of his first series, there's this panel of him on his bed with his hands behind his head, and he's just like relishing in the fact that he has his own apartment with his own money and all that. But he's wearing, they're not white, but they are tighty-whities, you know what I'm saying? So he's in there, and he doesn't know how he got there. He's making all this food, he's lounging around, but then the people who actually live here come home, and he's like, shit, time to bounce. So he's breaking into people's places, and I really like this part right here. It says, Harold, we've been robbed. Call the police. We haven't been robbed, dear. We've been reimbursed. Then we get this cool shot. I mean, what kind of a fucking badass doesn't wear a shirt under a zip-up hoodie? Who is this man? I don't know. This isn't the Dick Grayson I know. He's infinitely cooler. So he was walking around. He's got his cab parked there, which I guess he's using as like his pseudo apartment, which yeah, it's a way to make money, and you don't have to pay rent on it. So maybe we should all start living in cabs. But Barbara is waiting there, and she's sort of freaking out about how he doesn't know who she is. And he's like, "Hey, Barbara." And she's like, "You call me Babs?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't remember you. I'm here to help you remember." And he's like, I don't need your help." She points out he's living in a cab, and it's like, hey, if somebody's living in a cab, don't point it out. They know they live in a fucking cab. It's gonna be super awkward if you bring that shit up. And he says, so she's like pleading with him, like, "Do you know how many people care about you?" He's like, I don't want to care about the past." Awesome. But anytime someone's like, "Hey, let's forget the past," they've done some heinous fucking shit in their past, and you immediately need to know what their past was. Otherwise, you're probably a potential murder victim there. Oh, or if you do learn about their past and it's some heinous shit, don't let them know, because then you're definitely going to be murdered for murder there. I want to figure out the future. Oh, so cool. So then she's like, "I'll be your friend." "Yeah, I don't want any friends." And he goes into the prodigal bar. Let's just take in this up. There's no way that you cannot tell me that this isn't an Always Sunny reference right here. Okay, when Mac was fat, he was wearing Tommy Bahama Hawaiian shirts all the time. What's this? What's this over here? A crow. What's a staple drink of Patty's Pub? Fight milk, which is made from crow eggs. And then let's just look. This bar is like Patty's. We got shitty bar stools. No bars have shitty bar stools except Patty's Pub. And then alright, that's where the references end. Let's just look at these people. We got a big fat ass here. We got a young black woman who's apathetically playing darts. This guy here who's ordered a mojito, it looks like. And then this fucking yoked lady who I was like, holy shit, she's too ripped. But she's also in a wheelchair. So what the fuck is this place? And then the bartender says, "Here you go, Rick. Already pulled a draft for you. This is you what happened to the Dick Grayson." I know. First of all, I just need to unpack this. Him being called Rick right now. Okay, if you have the name Rick, if you are born and your parents named you Rick, which is definitely weird, looking at a fresh new baby and saying, "You know what, he looks like a Rick." But you can make the argument for any name. I'm sure your name, you look at a baby and you'd be like, Steven. Like, no, it doesn't work. But I'm telling you right now, if you're named Rick, you have to earn the right to be called Rick. If you're born Rick, you're going to be Ricky until you do some hardcore man shit. I'm talking about getting in bar fights pretty consistently, joining the military, murdering a person, joining a gang. You got to earn the name. You have to earn the right to be called Rick. Or if you haven't experienced any sort of like badassery in your life, you can go the other way and experience some hardcore tragedy. Like your entire family burns alive in front of you and you got burnt a little bit, and then somebody else comes to the hospital and they put their hand on your shoulder and they say, "Anything you want, I can get it, Ricky." And then Ricky puts his gnarled, burnt hand on his shoulder and says, "Just call me Rick." Scene. That's straight up. That's from a Hallmark movie. Someone needs to pay me money for these ideas. But the only famous Rick I can think of in this moment right now is Ric Flair. Which, goddamn, that man is a Rick. If you get your suits tailored, you can go by Rick. That's the mark of a man. Boys don't get their suits tailored. But that's just the ultimate man. If you know of a more famous Rick, let me know, but I doubt it. But I also want to point out with Ric Flair, that guy had incredible foresight. One of his moves is to walk like a geriatric old man who's about to fall on his face. He started doing that back in the day because he had the foresight to say, look, if I start doing this now, when I turn into an old ass man and start doing it, people will think I still have my faculties and bitches will still want to get on this Ric Flair woo dick. That's foresight. Another wrestling foresight, look into the future type deal, was Hulk Hogan just starting to wear bandanas. I'm sure he saw that bleached hair just thinning out and he's like, I'll start rocking a bandana now so later it won't come as a surprise. But okay, we see this. His crow starts talking. Apparently this girl knows him by Gray. Gray, Grayson, Richard, Rick, Rich, Rick, Dick. Don't call your kid Dick. If you don't name your kid Richard, because you don't even want to risk the chance. But we see now, look who he's hanging out with. This cast of characters. This guy, he looks really badass. He just looks badass. So, God, if you are named Rick, but you're forced to be called Ricky, I'm telling you now, you need to do some man shit. Because that Ricky is it's just going to follow you. It's going to follow you for the rest of your life until you do it, or some tragedy happens. So we get some stuff where, some old flashbacks with the crow, where he's going to kick his ass. The coloring on it's fantastic. We get some stuff about a murder that's happening. We get a panel where Barbara, it's like a 3x3. She's talking about, like, I don't know who Dick Grayson is. It's like, yeah, bitch, you got a bullet to that. He's a new guy. He's cool. Look at him. He's playing a lot of pool. I wonder if that happens to all gunshot, head wound victims, whatever. So she's talking about it. And we see the Bat family here. And Batman, he says on this other page over here, he says, maybe it's better this way, that he should get a fresh start without us. And it's like, see, this is what I'm talking about. You get to basically create a new character, but you get to keep all this. You get to keep all the history. And there's this crime scene, and I just like this. Look at that. I don't, like, it's so good. It's so good. We see him, he's just looking at all his former Nightwing costumes, and he's like, what would you do if you could start over? If the past isn't matter? Why can't I read right now? I'm getting tongue-tied. If the past didn't matter, if the past didn't exist, maybe you'd do your best to struggle through the wreckage. Hammer and glue the broken pieces into some sloppy version of the person everybody thought you were. But wouldn't a part of you always wonder, could I have done it better? What if I just splashed the past with gasoline and burned it to the ground? And then we get on the next page, you see what he did. I mean, it's pretty telegraphed here, but I don't want to ruin it. Definitely go get this. Just like, I love this scene. I love it. Good night, Ricky. Whoa.